I'm wearing black because of the Time's Up campaign. So this is women going to, men as well actually, but they all wear suits anyways, they all wear black. Anyways, women going to the Golden Globes tonight are wearing black in solidarity of the the women and the people basically that have experienced sexual harassment or harassment at work, and they've started a fund to offer legal support to people who can't afford to get any. So as a mark of support for that, Irish spelling is Owen, not Ewan, Owen. So as a mark of support for that, they're going. Some actresses are going to go to the Golden Globes wearing black, but let's not give any shit to people who don't wear black, because that's not what this is all about. Wonder Woman boss, what up, Owen? So close. I thought I was being all clever there. Owen. All right. So okay, listen. I'm gonna start. Gosh, I'm already overheating. This week's talk is about motivation. I thought that this would be a good topic for the new year because obviously, on social media it was really interesting because I feel like more than any other year I've seen so many posts and memes and comments about this is my year, come on guys, we can do this, let's smash 2018 in the balls or whatever. People have been really positive in the things that they're saying on social media, on Instagram anyways, not necessarily on Twitter. Twitter's still as crazy as ever. And I don't know whether if there's genuinely more momentum this year in terms of people's motivation and their willingness to really step outside of themselves and make something better out of their lives and achieve goals that they want, or whether this is just what happens at the beginning of every year and I'm just seeing it for the first time. Happy New Year, more 4690. I think it's great he for she and me too. I'm David. Lol. Huh? Okay, cool. So I thought that motivation would be a great one to talk about this, a week into the new year. There were a couple of things that I wanted to share with you. One is that I've been really sort of thinking hard about what goals I wanted to achieve for this year. And you may have seen on my New Year's Instagram post, I posted some of the good things that have happened for me this year, which I'm really, really grateful for. And I said at the bottom that I would not share my goals because I want to keep them close to my heart until they come to fruition. And I'm not going to share it just yet because some other things need to happen before I can sort of speak on it. But on the 3rd of January this year, I achieved the number 1 spot on my list of goals. So I feel like there is something in really thinking through your goals, writing them down and knowing what you want and just starting to think, how is that going to happen, and starting to see the clues around you that can make that thing happen for you. I was watching another Jason Silver video. People who have watched me before know that I'm a big fan of Jason Silver. I watch a lot of his stuff, and he was talking about how George Carlin had this method for how to manifest things. So he basically says, decide what it is that you're wanting, new job, say, then write it down, and then start to think about, I think you have to think about how that might happen, not necessarily come up with a plan, but come up with ideas as to how that may happen, and then let it go. And what he's saying is every time you are in the presence of this idea, you're conditioning your mind to find ways to make it happen. And that's kind of how manifestation works, isn't it? It's like that thing of you want a brand new red sports car, and then suddenly you're seeing brand new red sports cars everywhere. Were they there before? Probably, but it's only because you've conditioned your mind to now be attuned to seeing them that you're starting to notice them. So that was George Carlin. So that was the first thing I wanted to share, is just that I achieved one of my goals. And so I feel like there is definitely something in being intentional about your goals, because I haven't really been like that before, of really thinking, what do I want? And how's it going to happen? And this is the first year that I've really thought, you know what? Somehow it's going to happen. And then in 3 days, because I started this process basically on New Year's Eve, I think, or on the 30th. And in 3 days it happened. I'm telling you this to say, this can be yours too. And And I'm not. Yeah. Anyways, so Steen T18 and Dan, welcome. Richard Bunting, welcome. So, where do I start with motivation? Well, I saw this interesting stat the other day that by January the 8th, which is tomorrow, 25% of New Year's resolutions will be broken. Now, obviously, the context of this conversation is creativity, and the goals that we set are going to be around our creative pursuits. But isn't that interesting that like 25? But you know, New Year's resolutions are basically a sort of intent that everyone sets. They're sort of, you know, the general public have this: I'm going to stop smoking, I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But by the 8th, which is tomorrow, 25% of them are going to be broken, and by the end of the year, only 10% of New Year's resolutions will have been seen through to conclusion. So there's obviously this other sort of way of energy or whatever that's stopping us achieving our goals. So we should look at what can we do to keep going through January, because we all know the thing about the gym membership and all that, how everyone signs up and the gyms are packed in January, slightly less packed in February, empty by March. You know, by the end of March, that's it, game over. Everyone's just paying for the privilege of having the membership card and not actually going. So how do we keep ourselves going through the entire year? That's what this conversation is about. Let me just go back and check over your comments. So Wick and123 says the he for she campaigns for feminism and Me Too about the social harassment. It was all over social media to make awareness. Cool. Love to stay but must go. Got stuff to on the farm. Got animals to feed. Wow, animals. Sweet. Okay, bye. More 4690. And hello to the new guys that have just followed. Your ambition for 2018 is surviving 2017. Win. You did it, Alistair. Well done. Hey, Quincy. Wagwan. So we're just doing this motivation talk, creativity live chat. Topic is motivation. Where am I starting? Well, first off, how do we keep this motivation going? I am Mama Luca. Hello. How do we keep this motivation going? First off, I believe know what your goals are. I really think that for me, writing them down, which I have done, but never really with the intent of also what actions am I going to take to make this happen. I write them down and they're kind of like a wish list. That's how it's been before, where I've written down goals. I've gone, oh, I'd really like this, and that would be nice. Anyways, it's not going to happen or whatever. Do you know what I mean? But this time I wrote them down. I wrote down afterwards, how is that going to happen? What actions can I take to make that happen? One of the things that Tony Robbins talks about, do it in the diary. Yes, absolutely. I mean, do it however you need to do it. But I think the process of writing it down somehow solidifies something in a way that just thinking, oh, I wouldn't mind, blah, blah, blah happening. That doesn't cut it. I think you've got to write it down, and then I think you've got to think through what actions you can take to make that thing happen. Tony Robbins says, look, when he has a meeting, he doesn't leave the meeting, hey, CDE lifestyle, he doesn't leave the meeting until he's put in place actions that he needs to take to make whatever they've been discussing happen. And I think that's the one thing that we don't do is when we set goals for ourselves, we don't go, right, now what do I need to do? You just go, I'd really love a new car. Anyway, where's my Oyster card? Do you know what I mean? To make the goals happen, we have to start putting in motion a game plan. Okay, Quincy says, I'm starting by keeping realistic goals and keeping as much inspiring people around me. Absolutely. Quincy, I'm going to come to that later. I've got a topic called squad. And also, I'm just going to say something to realistic goals. Realistic goals in terms of I'm just saying this to everyone. Like, to me, realistic is a dangerous term sometimes, because sometimes people use it as a way to diminish what it is you want for yourself. Like, you got to be realistic. Realistic, Quincy, I think what you're saying is something that you can own, a goal you can own. That, I think, is a better interpretation of realistic than sometimes how people want to use the term realistic, as in, oh, she's a dreamer, head in the clouds, she's got to be realistic, that's not going to happen for her, blah blah blah. If you listen to the stories, the origin stories of some sort of actors, musicians and stuff, how they came from nothing to what they have, they didn't entertain the idea of being realistic in the way that, you know, the pejorative way that people use it. They just went for their goal and they kept working and kept working and kept working. Confabulations galore, welcome. So take action. The next thing I think we need to do if we're gonna keep our motivation going, should I say, is keep our eye on the prize, keep our eye on what it is that we want to achieve. So I think that's one of the things that probably is a stumbling block for people, is that they forget what is on the other side of the challenge or whatever that they're putting themselves through, the hardship or whatever they may be, or delayed gratification or whatever it is. They lose sight of what glory waits for them at the end of it, you know, basically achieving their goal. Again, Tony Robbins says that we set goals and we try to achieve certain things because we want to change the way we feel. We want that thing because it's going to, we think, change the way we feel. I.e., for example, if you want a new job, if you're unhappy in the job that you've got, you set a goal of getting a new job because you think it will make you feel a different way. I will feel better when I have this other job. So we've got to keep in touch with that feeling of, I will feel great once I get this other job, and use that as the motivator to keep ourselves going. We've got to make sure that we remind ourselves, why are we doing this, as often as possible, especially when we get into a place where we're like, oh, I don't want to go to the gym, I don't want another day in the gym or whatever, or I don't want to print another set of CVs, or I'm bored of, whatever it is that's the hardship you're going through to get to what you want. Keep in mind why you're doing what you're doing, so that it doesn't just feel like graft. They did an experiment with some school kids in terms of delayed gratification, and they said either we will give you one marshmallow now or 2 marshmallows in 15 minutes time. And I don't know how long this study was, but basically the kids that went for the 2 marshmallows later on, there was a correlation between their success later on in life and the kids that went for the delayed gratification of like taking the 2 marshmallows later. That in a nutshell is basically it. That's the keeping your eye on the prize, rather than taking something now, i.e., oh, I don't want to go to the gym, I want to slob in front of like The Voice or something. Keep your eye on the prize. Go for the delayed gratification, because you know you're going to feel great after you've been to the gym, or after you've sent all those CVs, or after you've done your piano scales or whatever it is, and you know that that's taking you one step closer to the goal, which is ultimately going to give you much more satisfaction long term than the temporary satisfaction of the 1 marshmallow now, the temporary satisfaction of vegging out in front of The Voice, the temporary satisfaction of not having practiced your French grammar, or whatever it may be. So we have to keep our eye on the prize. Dagenham and proud, what's up? Hello. So next thing on my list of keeping the motivation going for 2018, for the whole year, not just for January, is elevate your thinking. So I've said this before, probably earlier and also on other live chats. I feel like there is like a social agreement to keep everything mundane, in the sense of like, for example, what I was saying about, how people use the word realistic, or not wanting to extend yourself too far. Or here's an example. Okay, basically, if any smokers out there, or anyone that's had a vague attempt at dry January or anything like that, how much support do you actually get from people around you? I've, not drunk before, like, for extended periods of time. And the amount of times either people treat you with suspicion, especially in the UK, or they try and ply you with drinks still. Or if you're a smoker, you say, oh, start of the year, I'm going to give up. How many times do people wave a cigarette at you? I was running the marathon one year, and there was a bunch of kids when we went through a part of South London who were offering cigarettes to the runners. sort of as a piss take, but my point is that you know what people are like. They're not doing it maliciously. They're doing it because they want to maintain the norm where they know you to be a smoker, or they know you to be a drinker, or they know you to be someone that they can enable with food, ply you with cake, ply you with burgers. And they don't want you to change because they don't want things to change for themselves. What, the person offering you cigarettes? No, you don't, CDE lifestyle. So there is an agreement in society to keep things as they are, to not have discipline in your life, to indulge your vices because it makes other people feel okay about their vices. When you bring in discipline into your life, there's going to be a lot of people around you who don't like it. When you start to elevate your thinking and talk about the goals that you want to achieve, there's going to be a lot of people telling you, be realistic, or, oh, you're working too hard, or don't forget to... Do you know what I mean? Don't worry about that. Don't worry about them. Elevate your thinking. Take that attitude from them and contextualize it. That's theirs. It's not yours. You know what's right for you because you know what your goal is and you know what it means to achieve that goal. So it doesn't matter what other people are saying and thinking. I shouldn't have mentioned burgers, god damn it, Marshon. So how can we elevate our thinking? Catch yourself in judgment and negative thought. I mean, we've talked about like the inner critic, when I did the live chat about criticism and stuff like that. But catch yourself in those moments when you're just like having those mundane thoughts where you're indulging that sort of negative belief pattern about yourself or the goal, whether it's worthwhile or the rest of it. Those thoughts are all valid, as in they have the right to exist, but they're not necessarily true. It's a paradoxical idea, but if you can sit with that, if you can be with that, then you can give yourself breathing room to have those thoughts exist and carry on with what you were doing, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not an advocate for like squashing any negative thought. I don't think that is the way forward, because then you're gonna like freeze your brain by having this sort of internal battle with yourself of like, I must not think negative things. I must not think negative things. And every time you think a negative thing, you think, oh shit, I thought a negative thing. I'm worthless. Oh, wait, that's another negative thing. So I don't believe in quashing like negative thoughts. All I'm saying is catch yourself in the act, give it room to be, and then just get on with your business of achieving your goals. Create quiet for yourself. I think there's something really valuable about just having a little bit of quiet space. Hi, Paula Powell. Just a bit of quiet space to just be and hear what's going on in your mind and contemplate and allow ideas to come in and just be, and just giving yourself the space to be will give yourself the space to allow elevated thoughts to come in. Consume inspiring ideas. Wax Pusher, hello. I think this has been really, really helpful, and it's almost like, for me, food, in the sense that if you can consume inspiring ideas, then that can help to elevate your thinking. What do I mean by inspiring ideas? Well, it might mean like, I don't know, reading books by people that inspire you. Runch 1951, welcome. It might mean reading books by people that inspire you. It might mean watching videos online. Again, I mentioned Jason Silver, but there's so many out there. Goldcast do these great videos that tell you about like celebrities and how they became who they are today. And so there's an abundance of like content out there that can help to elevate your thinking, and also I think in your social media, just be aware of like what ideas are coming into your feed, sort of thing, because that can set your day up in a particular way. One thing I noticed is that Twitter was getting me down for reals. Like, I was contributing to the noise, the sort of anti-Trump noise, and I realised one day, it's just like, what's the point? He's not reading my Twitter feed. I'm preaching to the choir here, because probably everyone that follows me thinks he's a dweeb. So why am I creating that noise? And then I realised every time I was going on Twitter, my heart was just like, I was feeling so much anxiety. What's he done now? Because I'm following so many people that are talking about him. So now I go on Twitter like this. Oh, quick. Have I got any ads? No? Okay, fine, off. And I'm so much happier. Hi Nick James. I'm so much happier. So just be aware, if you, like me, if you spend a lot of time on social media, I probably spend, a good couple of hours some days, spread out throughout the day. Just be aware of what's in your feed. Personally, I find Instagram so much nicer than Twitter. Twitter's got its place, whatevs. But for me, I find Instagram, especially if you're looking for empowering images of people of colour, empowering images of women, of people from diverse backgrounds, diverse situations, cultures, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't know, maybe it's the people I'm following, I don't know, but I just feel like there's very little politics on my Instagram feed. And it makes me feel like the world's a pretty good place. So, just touch it. If you spend a lot of time on social media, just have a look, see who and what you're following. Is that helping or hindering your ability to elevate your thinking? I'll give a couple of shout outs to Instagram accounts that I really like. There's a woman called Twinkie Bird who is a casting director and a filmmaker, and she has a great Instagram feed. She's often posting like inspiring memes and stuff like that, and it's just nice for something that's come up like that in your feed. It just makes you stop for a second and just remember, oh yeah, that's cool. Pictures are worth 1,000 words. Nick, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I was another Instagram account I really like. I follow quite a few photographers just cause, an artist, just cause they put beautiful pictures up on their Instagram feed, and that's what my, part of what I see now on my Instagram timeline. Earth Pix, Pix, is another great picture Instagram account, because they just have beautiful pictures of the earth. I mean, it's as simple as that. I follow Instagram accounts that have pictures of puppies and kittens because they always are doing cute things, and it just makes me giggle for a minute. Jason Silver, I've mentioned before. Goldcast, Amy Poehler's Smart Girls is a great one for empowering images and ideas and stories around women. Eckhart Tolle, he doesn't post very often, but his account is pretty cool. Just find whatever works for you. I don't know what field you're in, so it's kind of like whatever works for you. But yes, just fill your mind with inspiring ideas, and that elevates your thinking. Another way to elevate your thinking, and another important thing for keeping your motivation and keeping your mind at that sort of vibrating at that frequency that allows abundance and greatness to come your way, is to mind your language. I'm not talking about effing and jeffing. I'm not talking about swearses. Not bothered about that. What I'm talking about is using language that's gonna, hi Mark Dewhurst, that's gonna empower you or that is gonna disempower you. Peter Tosh always really motivates you in the morning. Ha! There you go, Peter Tosh. You got to take it where you find it. Hello, Tony Foster, 10-19-7. So if you're under any illusion that language isn't important, let me give you a couple of examples. So there was a couple of experiments done. These are two independent experiments looking at different things, but but the premise of them was pretty similar. So basically, they got a bunch of PhD students or high-level students, basically, and they gave them a written exam paper, and they split them up. This is the first experiment. They split them up into two groups, so the control group and then the regular group. The control group, they just anonymously completed their exam paper, and then the control group, they said at the top of their exam paper, they were asked to identify their race. This experiment was done on two different occasions. On the one occasion where they identified their race, in the group that identified their race, the African American students did worse when they were asked to identify their race than the African American students in the control group. Does that make sense? So if they weren't asked about their race, the African American students just did the same as everybody else. If they were asked about their race, they did worse. Why? Because of the power of language. Because there is such negative sort of a belief in the sort of social agreement about African Americans' ability to study and to be educated, that having to declare that on that exam paper made them perform worse. It just had this psychological effect on them that they performed worse. Now, it's obviously a psychological effect because obviously the ones in the control group just did as well as everybody else. Again, same sort of experiment, identifying their race. This time, in another experiment, the Asian students did better. In the control group, they just did the same as everybody else, but in the group where they identified their race, they did better. Why? Because there's a social agreement that Asians are very studious and educated and bright and clever. So you see how the power of words works. Again, the same thing was done with a bunch of physicists, and this time the women performed worse when they were asked to identify their gender. There was a company called PIE that is a haulage company, and they were having a lot of problems with erroneous parcels, containments going missing and getting misdelivered and all this sort of stuff, and they couldn't work out why, and they brought in this doctor to help them to identify what the problem is, or this expert, sorry, not doctor. They brought in this expert to identify what the problem was, and this expert found that if they changed, well, he advised them to change the name of the job title of the truckers from truckers to craftsmen. And there was a huge drop in the number of containers that were going missing or getting misdelivered, all the rest of it, just by changing the job title. Because what it did in the mind of the worker is, it was like, I'm a craftsman. I'm not a trucker, I'm a craftsman. And little things like that can make a difference. So I just use those examples just to say, it's all to say language is important. We have to be careful of the language that we use when we're speaking about ourselves, when we're speaking about what we want to achieve, when we're speaking about who we are and what we've done. Hello, Mike, I think it's Toby, is it? Valentine and Desolade Yemi Desolade, is that? If it's got it the right way around. Would wearing black be motivation today with the Golden Globes? Without words, obviously. The wearing black, well, I mean, yeah, maybe it could work as motivation in a way, because you're attaching yourself to something that's very, a group of people that are very successful, as well as giving support to a cause that you believe in. I would say. So yeah, I think there's some validity to that. Tony, thank you very much. You think I'm amazing? Thanks. Where were we? So one of the phrases that I heard the other day. It would be interesting to see if your dating profile starts to improve if you use this technique. Which technique? The words. I hope it does, my friend. I hope it does. Hey, welcome back, CD Lifestyle. Had to change devices. No worries. So one of the phrases that I picked up on with somebody. I look nice in black. Thanks. Thanks very much. I think this is the only black thing I've got that wouldn't look like I was like actually going out. So this is the choice. I didn't have a choice, basically. It was either this or not wearing black. One of the phrases I picked up on the other day that somebody said was, I'll try. They said something like, I'm going to try and do that a little bit more. I can't remember what we were talking about. And I stopped them and I said, you won't. Because I'll try is one of the weakest declarations of intent that there is. It just is. I'll try means, like, say someone says, we're all going bowling. Do you want to come? Yeah, I'll try and make it. You won't. You know it. You're just letting them down gently. You know what I mean? Like, that's the sort of language we use. But that's fine if you're, talking about something that's not as important, like a social engagement, a informal, loose social engagement. If you're talking about your life, if you're talking about the goals you want to achieve, the things that you want, I'll try, won't do. Never promise what you can't deliver. Yeah, fair enough. But like I say, if we're talking about something not important or not massively significant, like a loose social engagement like that, fine. But when you're talking about your goals, I'll try. No. Another one is should. Should's got a little bit more energy to it, but it still suggests that either something's wrong and you've got to put it right, or something's missing and you've got to bring it in, or something's present and you've got to get rid of it. It suggests wrongness. So it's not going to help you, because you're just going to be in this self-flagellation. I should have done something, but I should give up smoking. I should really cut down on my calories. You see the pain in should, and we should all the time. Do or do not do. There is no try. Yoda. I mean, I couldn't have put it better myself. Hello, Mickey. Hello, Amy. Welcome. I'll think about it is a good one. Usually means no. Yeah, I say my one, Nick, is could do. When I say could do, that means I ain't gonna. So I just thought through some of the language that we use, and I've sort of got this ascending order of like empowering ways to describe our intent. So should, I don't fancy very much. Then I thought might. Might has got a bit more energy to it. Then I figured could. Could's got more energy. Can, yeah, like it. Will, or am. So let me walk you through what I'm thinking. Hi, John Reynolds, Esquire. So say, for example, we're talking about giving up smoking. You could say, I should give up smoking. So there's no energy in that, because what you're saying is, there's no sense in that sentence that you're going to do anything about it. All you're acknowledging is that smoking exists in your life and you should do something about it, but you ain't gonna. I might give up smoking. Well, you're introducing a little glimmer of possibility. I might give up smoking, and then you might imagine a life where you don't smoke. Oh, I won't, my clothes won't smell, and I won't cough up phlegm every time I sort of try and breathe. And yeah, I might give up smoking. I could give up smoking. That's the next one up. A bit more energy to that even still. I could give up smoking. Like, you're really entertaining the possibility. This is something I could do. I have the power to do it. I can give up smoking. You're saying, I definitely have the power to do it. I can give up smoking. Who can't give up smoking? I can give up smoking. But you're still not there. You're not actually doing it. I will give up smoking. That's pretty good. But it still sounds like it's in the future. Am is the most empowering one. I am giving up smoking. I am a non-smoker, because it's a declaration of today, of what's going on now. I'm trying to read your comments. Now wait, now these are smoker stereotypes. Mate, I've been a smoker, so I know all the little tricks we tell ourselves. Sean O'Callaghan, hello. So might, could, can, will, am. I am. That's what we need to declare for ourselves. No try. What was that Yoda one? What is that? Where's that Yoda one? By all means, do or do not do. There is no try. This is kind of off topic. I have to take a survey for class, and it's about colours. What colour socks are you wearing? Black. Hey, Paul. All right, squad. Let me talk about squad. What do I mean by squad? We're hearing squad talked about all the time. We're basically talking about your sort of informal group of friends. I think your squad is massively important. Not to say they have to be with you on this goal, but you just want them to be on your side. And if they're not, you might want to recalibrate who's in and who's out. And it sounds harsh. I'm not talking about ending friendships or anything like that, but I'm just saying, like, who do you want to be there at the finish line? Make sure they're there at the beginning. Squad up, exactly. I've seen so many celebrities talking about their squad goals, all the rest of it. And it's like, it's, on the one hand, you could say it's a transient meme or something like that, and there'll be something else that everyone's talking about like soon enough. But actually, on the other hand, you can't, if you're going someplace amazing, you can't go on your own. It just doesn't work like that. There's going to be people, supporters who've got your back. Like, even at the level that I'm at, there's people that have got my back, who I rely on, who I want to take on the journey with me. And I think that's the other part of the squad thing, is it's not necessarily a one-way street, is it? It's not all about what they can do for you. It's about what you are doing for them, what you can do for each other. And exactly, hashtag Team Andi, and the support that you give each other. So make sure that the people in that squad motivate you, that make you want to be a better person, and you make them want to be a better person, and through that you just barrel through life together. Because your squad is a reflection of who you are. So if you've got a squad that's a little bit lazy, or a little bit, that's a judgment actually, I'll take that back. Not lazy, but like if you're not necessarily massively motivated, or if you're all kind of content with where you are in your life, that you're not striving for anything bigger or better or greater than what you currently have, if you're all kind of pretty much settled, then that's where you're gonna stay, because you're in this kind of gravitational pull of keep everything the same. If you want to get if you want things to be better and bigger and bolder for yourself, you have to get a squad that wants the same goddamn thing. You know, you look at like people like Kevin Hart. He's a great example. Align yourself with the right energies. Too right, Paul. You look at Kevin Hart, like I follow him on Instagram, and you get a kind of a sense of the life that he's living, and he's got an entourage, and part of probably those people's jobs is just to be squad. Do you know what I mean? Just to be in the right mindset, to be around him and support him. And from that, they benefit from that too, because they're in the Kevin Hart squad, and I'm sure that comes with some benefits. So just be aware of who's in your squad, who's around you, how do they talk about your goals and what you want to achieve. I remember I was having a conversation with a girl that like a sort of mutual connection had put me in touch with. And we got on quite well at first, but I noticed that she was predisposed towards complaint quite a lot. And it was always around, black people ain't going to get this, black people are not going to get that, people always treat black people this way, blah, 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 blah. And it was like kind of, at first I sort of went into agreement with her about it. And then after a while, she kind of started turning on me. And also I started to realise that she was not a good energy to have around. So slowly, we just started spending a lot less and less time together. And I think she resented something about me. I don't know what it was, but I could feel from her that there was more negativity being driven towards me, not just like out to the world generally. And she was still also on this black people never get anything sort of tip. And I just thought, you're not a good person to have around. This is before I was aware of the concept of squad, but I thought you are just not a good person for me to be around for where I want to get to. Because look, we can generate all those negative thoughts ourselves. We don't need somebody outside of ourselves doing it. We're all perfectly capable of telling ourselves how shit our lives are and how shit life is for people like us, whatever the us is. So the last thing you need is someone on the outside verifying those thoughts. You want other people that are going to elevate your thoughts above that, take your mind out of that, tell you that those things aren't going to stop you, aren't going to slow you down. Wiccan123 says, if you hang around positive people, you become more positive because you feed off that energy. Don't spend time with negative people. It will pull you down. You're right. El Heritier, thank you for joining us. Yeah, and the thing is about that, Wiccan123, I was trying to see if I could find your name so I can address you by your name rather than Wickhand123, but I couldn't. The thing about that as well is sometimes it's hard. You know, I was hanging around with somebody who was a complete prick to me. Like I can't even exaggerate how badly they treated me. But it took me a long time to realise that person, listen, I'm going to call it, I think it was jealousy. It was unfounded because they were doing much better than I was, which is the weird thing about jealousy. But they had decided in their mind that I was a problem. But it took me a really long time to sort of let that person go. So yes, you're right, absolutely. Spend time with positive people. But first of all, you've got to identify which ones are which. And sometimes you don't even spot it. You're like, God damn it, I've been hanging around with this person for 13 years and I'm only just realising how negative they are. So, all right, so Confabulations Galore says, I know I'm the negative one, so my first goal is to be quiet until I can see more than past failure. That's very honest of you, Confabulations Galore. You might not be being negative, you might be being pragmatic, you might be being honest, you might be being honest maybe when it's not always appropriate, maybe that's what's happening, I don't know, but don't do yourself down. David, excellent, all right. You think you dated her? Oh my God. I don't think so. I don't think she likes boys. Okay, so now I have a real question. I have people in my squad and everyone's energy is clashing with everyone else's. All of them are flawed. How can I fix this? CD lifestyle. You cannot fix this. You need to figure out what the fundamental conflict is in your squad. And then you might have a fighting chance of figuring out what the real problem is. What is the conflict, the central conflict between them all? Are you in the right squad at all? If they are a squad that is constantly in conflict and not looking for resolution, generally, is that a squad for you? Depends what you want for your life. Kieran Lee, welcome. All right. So I think that's squad goals, right? Oh, one more thing about squad is acknowledge winning that is in your squad. Matcha tea, this is the dregs. When I say that, thank you, good. I'm glad. Well, feed back to me. Let me know how it goes, CD Lifestyle. Acknowledge the winning in your squad. So when someone in your squad, even if they're not in your squad, in fact, in your circle, wins, acknowledge it, either just to yourself or even better to them. Say congratulations, well done. Because remember, if you are in the presence of winning, it means that you're close. And so the more you can appreciate that for somebody else and support somebody else who is currently winning, the more you will start to experience winning. You're making space for it in your life. What you experience in the world is a reflection of where you're at. If you see negativity and hate in the world, that means that's where you're at. If you see positivity and flow and abundance, that's also where you're at. So if you're starting to see winning, it means you're close. Don't let it be something that, you decide you have to get jealous over. Instead, recognize it, appreciate it, and celebrate it, as David just said. I mean, believing in my ability and not allowing outside influences to distract my journey. Quincy, I think you're referencing your comment earlier about realistic goals. Yes, believing in your ability. I think that's 100% the point. If you believe you can achieve, you will receive. And not allowing outside influences to distract your journey. Exactly. Elevate your thinking. That's what you're basically talking about. Minding your language, not letting outside influences distract your journey. And knowing your squad, so basically not allowing a negative squad to come into your life, i.e. those outside influences. So basically I'm agreeing with you. Instead of begrudging the wins of others as I used to, I find I respect the hard work of others and celebrate it. It inspires the same in me, says Paul. That's such a positive way of seeing it, because I mean, I have on occasion, I'm not gonna lie, seen other people's success as it's almost like a personal slight to me. It's almost like they are winning just to piss me off. It's natural. I give myself space for that. That's the child in me, that, the child energy that has yet to be healed. Nothing wrong with it. Just not the person that I want to be in charge day to day. I love it when people win. I also feel like I am aware of the times I feel jealous, and I just go, I'm jealous. And then it's okay, and then it just passes. Don't have to hold on to anything. A bit of real talk there. Listen, we'd be lying if we didn't say that. Hello, Varushka MP. Saludar, I don't know what that means. It looks like salut is like hello, so I guess it's kind of a salutation. First name, last name 19. Hello. We got to be honest here and say, listen, we'll get jealous. There's always things that, prod that little part of our story, but as long as we don't live from there, then it's okay. Okay, couple more things. Woo, we covered a lot of territory today, Okay, so changing mode, that's my next one. This is how we keep our motivation going, how we keep our goal alive, is that you change your state when you need to. So there's going to be times when you're feeling down, you're feeling pissed off or whatever. You have the power to change your state of mind, change your mode that you're in. And we all do this subconsciously anyway. So like, for example, we might shower, we might have some food, we might have a little nap. And when we wake up, we feel so much better. Feel so much better after shower. One of the things that I was thinking about in terms of changing mode was, like builders and stuff like that, and people who work, who get sort of grubby with their work. I've noticed that if they have a night out, they always like go home, shower, and they always look 100 when they go out. And I really think that's not just about obviously wanting to, clean up or whatever, but it's about changing mode. They are going from the guy who works with his hands and gets dirty and all the rest of it to the guy who looks pretty crisp. Do you know what I mean? And that is changing modes. So bye, Wax Pusher. See you next time. so we can find ways to change mode. So if you feel like you're in a bit of a rut emotionally, or there's stuff in your head that you just can't clear, stop what you're doing, change mode. Find ways that are edifying, not ways that are unhealthy. So not necessarily, don't change mode necessarily by binge watching something or overeating or excess drinking, stuff like that. What I'm talking about is things like listen to some music, go for a walk, look at a sunset, exercise, dance, watch a motivational video, cook, sing, something like that that's just going to completely change your mode and your way of being. We have more power over our emotional state and the state that we're in than we think. One very smart man that I know called David Norris says that emotions travel. And what he means by that is that basically emotions are just chemical reactions that are happening in our body. We interpret them in our brains as happy, sad, upset, angry, anxious, blah, 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 whatever. But the mind is the one that puts the meaning on it. And the more meaning the mind puts on it, the longer the emotion stays and the more sort of chemicals that get sort of produced, perpetuating the emotion. If you just acknowledge that it's a chemical reaction, you change your mode and you let the emotion travel, i.e. pass through you, you can change your state pretty quickly, actually. Pretty quickly. It's the mind that keeps the emotional state in place. Because the mind wants, you have lovely sort of sadness, oh, I love sadness, or whatever it is, you know what I mean? The mind is like a bit of a fucker in that sense. So change mode allows you to change the state that you're in. If it's not working for you, if you want to write and you just can't concentrate, change mode. If you're feeling lazy and you want to exercise, change mode. Even just getting on your gym gear will change your mode. Don't wait for the feeling to do the thing, change mode, and then that might give you the feeling to do the thing you want to do. All right? Rewards. Sometimes pursuing our creative goals it's gonna feel like hard work. It's gonna feel like atrocious hard work. We're gonna forget why we're doing it. We're gonna feel like it's hard. What's the point? That it's not gonna work out. So give yourself rewards every step of the way. Give yourself rewards for the little achievements. Give yourself rewards for the big achievements. Sometimes when I get a new job and I find out how much I'm going to earn, I go shopping. Just not obviously I don't spend all of it. I spend a tiny percentage of it on a couple of nice clothes or something like that, just as a reward to say well done for getting that job. I mean, I haven't even got the money yet, but I know the money's coming and because I'm going to do the job. But like and then I save the rest, because otherwise, what is this all for? It can't all be about the goals. It's got to be a little bit about, you've got to give yourself a little bit of a chance to just like enjoy what you're doing, and guilt-free as well, right? Guilt-free. And give yourself breaks. Give yourself space to go away from what it is you're doing so you can appreciate coming back. Even if you love what you do, if you never take a break from it, it is going to drive you insane. I'm working on I'm writing at the moment, and I'm really enjoying what I'm doing. I'm sort of more working on structure than actually doing the sort of creative flow writing. But I have had to tell myself, stop, do something else, because otherwise, when come Monday morning, you're going to feel like, I've got to do this again, rather than, great, I get to start again. So here I am, talking to you guys. There's been a few comments. Let me just see what's going on. Okay. Oh, thank you, Varushka. She says, good advice. Robin Elms. Got a thumbs up from Robin. Nice to see you here. Every creative should train their subconscious. Every person should train their subconscious. CD lifestyle. That's a good point. Damn, Andy, you be slaying them angles too. Lol. Thank you. Where are we at? Okay, a couple more things. So one is continually assess where you're at. That's not to say continually second guess yourself. You must make sure that you know the difference. Don't be going, oh, is this going to work? Oh, is this going to work, like every 5 minutes? But it is okay to every now and again, every 3 months, every month, depending on what it is you're doing, to just go, let me just step back and just have a look. How is this all going? Don't be afraid to try a new way of achieving the goal that you want to achieve. That might invigorate the process for you and help to keep you going for the rest of the year. Don't be afraid to change the goal. You might find 6 months in, actually, I don't want a new job. What I want is a pay rise and more responsibility in the job that I have, or whatever it is. Do you know what I mean? Like, keep the dream alive. Don't let it become some dead fixed idea that you're sort of head down just marching towards and not thinking anymore whether you want it or not. Because the journey's got to be as fun and exciting for you in a different way as actually getting to where you want to get to. So take should and willpower out of the equation. I should have said this is kind of related to the language thing earlier, but willpower is about saying, I'm gonna do this regardless of how lovely and wonderful I think the thing is that I'm denying myself is. Because, you know, the reason that willpower will fail is already packed into that. So you can't win. You know, so few people do succeed using willpower, but if you say, for example, I want to give up cake. I'm just not gonna, even if I see cake, I am not gonna look at the cake, I'm not gonna eat the cake, I'm not even gonna think about cake. Even though I'm talking about cake, I'm not gonna think about cake. So the very fact that you have to deny yourself cake suggests that cake has power, and the power is its deliciousness. And that is why willpower never works, because baked into, pardon the pun, but baked into the very mechanism of willpower is that the thing that you are denying yourself is amazing. And that you are amazing for denying yourself it. But eventually you're going to crumble because it's too much for you to cope with. So take should and willpower out of the equation. You don't need it. Remember that this the work that you're supposed to do is supposed to be about joy. If you're a creative, you're purely doing this for joy and money. No, you're purely doing it for joy. So there's no need to make things so fucking hard on yourself. If it's becoming torturous, let it go. Let it go. Willpower, there's no place for it. There's one last thing that I found, which I think you will find interesting, and any fast readers out there, you might be interested in the book by this person. Professor David DeSteno did a study and found that better than willpower is pride, compassion, and gratitude. So if you can find pride in what you're doing, compassion for others, gratitude for what you already have, then that is going to serve you that much better than willpower ever could. And there's no, as far as I'm concerned, there's no place for willpower in the creative process. It's not needed if you approach it in the right way. This chap wrote a book called Emotional Success, The Power of Gratitude, Compassion and Pride. And his name is Professor David DeSteno, if you're interested in checking his book out. I haven't read it, but I just saw an article that I thought was interesting because I knew that I would be talking about willpower. So I read the article and he was basically saying pride, compassion and gratitude is what makes goals much more achievable than willpower ever could. Let me go back on your comments. First name, last name 19 says, looks like Arsenal are going out of the cup. I'm off for my dinner now. Enjoyed listening to your wise words, Andy. Thank you very much. And Paul says, great quote from a Tori Amos interview in terms of goals and creating. It takes very little skill to obliterate an idea, right? It takes great skill to negotiate an idea into existence. Yes, and that's what we're doing. We're negotiating, we're coaxing them into existence. I am Tian, just joined. Thank you for joining the conversation. The calories don't count if no one sees you. If a tree falls in the woods, if a cake gets eaten. Real Talk says Robin Elms. We've got 5 minutes. That is the end of this talk about motivation. If anyone's got any other thoughts, ideas, suggestions that they want to chuck in the comments box, throw them in now. Thank you all for being here as well. I was really excited to do this one, and so thank you for just showing up and allowing me to do this. One thing that I was going to share at the beginning, which I'll share with you now, is that I'm starting to sort of get a bit in my head, negative thoughts coming in, you know, about these chats. I'm thinking, do they really make a difference? Does anybody care? Or is anybody bothered? You know, blah, blah, blah. Am I wasting people's time or whatever? And then I realized that if you make a difference with one person, then you've changed the world. And it made me see that we have an obsession with numbers and vastness of our reach and our influence, forgetting that one person can be the whole world. Because if you've said something that's positively impacted on somebody else's life, that's huge. And who knows what they will go on to do because of what you've said or done, not even knowing that you've had that impact. So yeah, so I wanted to say that at the beginning, and I was like, no, I don't want to say it. But then I thought I would share it with you at the end, that is what got me back in front of my iPad right now to be here with you, is just thinking, if one person takes something from this and just goes, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna just like live my best life, I'm gonna achieve my goals this year because of something that came up in this conversation, then that really is a huge reward for me and a reason to just keep going. So I will be here next week for you. Robin Elms says, you're a great motivator. Keep at it, Andy. Need more people like you. Help others as you grow. Oh, thank you, Robin. That's very sweet of you. And David said, it was first live I've watched of you, Andy, and you loved it. You're inspiring. Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm getting a lot from it too, of just being able to share this with you. Hey, Carly. Varushka. Oh, you said something as well, Varushka, didn't you? What did you say? Oh, you love routine. Yeah, man. Routines are dope. Discipline, innit? Okay. So, guys. Hey, Graham. Owen. Cool. I'm glad you... Thank you for staying for the whole thing. You were here the whole time. Okay. So, guys, I'm going to go. I don't know what next week's one is going to be about. I think it might be about mental health. I think that might be what it's about. If any of you have got any ideas, thank you for being here, Marshawn. Thank you. If any of you got any ideas about what talks you would like me to do in future, I can have a think about them, see if I can piece together some ideas. They've kind of build themselves over the course of the week. It's really interesting how it works. Oh, no worries, Carly. No worries. Yeah, watch it on the rerun, on the rewind. Cool. Well, good. Help me out, guys. Yeah, but like I say, it's interesting how they sort of come together. They sort of coagulate over the course of the week. So, yeah, we'll see what happens next week. But I'll post on Insta as to when it's going to be. Probably 5 again, and what it's going to be about. If you've got any ideas of anything that you want me to talk about, just drop me a message on Instagram as well. I'm getting the countdown. That's how long we've been here together, guys. So I'm going to shoot off. But thank you all for being here, as I say, and I will see you very soon. Bye.